Hello, good evening everybody and welcome to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel. My name's Jake and I'll be guiding you through round 2 of the Formula 4 Championship here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. It's going to be an exciting race. We had a great opening to the season last time out in France, which saw Milham take quite an unexpected win, it has to be said. He won't be taking a win tonight because unfortunately he is absent. So we are guaranteed to have a different winner here at this very, very challenging but short racetrack. 2.6 miles, 10 turns make up the shortest lap of the season, and expect plenty of racing and overtaking, as there are plenty of spots here where you can get moves done, and even if you do lose a position, there are plenty of places to gain that position back straight away. We've got a very full grid tonight as well. We've got 18 drivers, including a couple of new drivers, which I'll run through very, very shortly. Just going to firstly check that everything's working as it should be. I believe it is. Got some support for Malk already in the stream, which is nice to see. He didn't have a race he would have hoped for last time out in Austria. In France, sorry. He'll be looking to make up for that here tonight. I'll run through the various strategies we should expect to see, as well as the championship standings after round 1 and the new drivers very, very shortly. We'll just get into qualifying very quickly. Right, so after round 1 of the championship, here's how things line up then in the championships. We have got Milham, of course, leading the championship after he took the win at Paul Ricard. We've got Tin Man in 2nd and synchronously in 3rd. Mike is in 4th ahead of Richard, Hatsman, Johnny Elliott and Maggot are tied on points. I have to believe it was Maggot that got the fastest lap of the race. Cryptox in 9th, and then we've got Sab who took the final point in 10th, with McLaren leading the Constructors on 19 points. And they are leading ahead of the Haas team, who unfortunately came together in the last race, costing them even more points. So hopefully they'll have sorted that out in time for the race tonight. Gonna go on board with, let's have a look. Let's go with Tin Man, who's followed his teammate out of the pits. He had a great opening race to the season last time out, getting a great 2nd place, something which he wasn't expecting after talking to him after the race, and something he'll be hoping that he can replicate as the season goes on. If he can, there's every chance he'll be a championship contender. His teammate did show pace as well in the opening race, but unfortunately was involved in one too many collisions. I don't know if these two are going for a slipstream, but they're probably a little bit too close together, if I'm being completely honest. The dirt air effect on this game is quite big, so the last thing you want is to pick up understeer behind your teammate. But that could very well happen for Tin Man here, and in fact he's lifted off, so I wonder if already he's encountered that dirty air. We'll go on board then with his teammate Ginger Tiger, who is very much continuing on with his lap. Of course, this may be the bottom PS4 tier on Invictus, but it's very worth pointing out that we do have the 3 most experienced drivers at Invictus are all in this league. Quite incredible, really. And we've got Nitrogash, who's collected 175 race appearances. We've got Mike, who's on 180, and then a long way out in front, Sir Spud, who's on 206 Invictus race starts. Quite an incredible achievement, that is, I have to say. So, lots of experience on this grid, and they'll be looking to put that to good use as Ginger Tiger sets our opening lap of the session, which is a 105 point. Oh, but instantly beaten by Patsman, who's straight into the 104s, and now Maggot goes on to pole position on a 104.3. Definitely showed he's got raw speed last week, but things just did not quite fall into place for the McLaren driver, and he'll be definitely looking to make amends here. Early lap times coming in, and while we do that, we'll quickly touch on the two newcomers to the league that we've got here. In fact, we'll just quickly go on board with one of them because he's just gone into second place. So the Renault team last week was actually empty, but we now have a full lineup at Renault with C. Wilson, as you can see here, joining the tier, and we've also got I Am Neelis in the other Renault who's joined. And as you can see already, they put in some very quick lap times early on. So good to see them join the field, and it means we'll have an even more competitive grid, I'm sure, as the race goes on. I believe that was... so Brennan's will not be on a lap. Is Synchronously on a lap, I wonder? Looks like he might very well be, so we'll look at Synchronously as Tin Man goes second. He did another lap. And Tin Man goes quickest on a 104.1. So a very, very competitive lap there from the Racing Point driver. As I said, he got second place last time out, so he's shown he's got the speed and perhaps the consistency, and he definitely is not a driver to be overlooked here for this championship. Synchronously 2 was on the podium last week. He did another driver who didn't really back himself to do that well, but I think he took advantage of a lot of things going on around him to get up there. But he's definitely got the pace too, and he could be about to go quickest here. In fact, he does. He's the first man into the 1 minute freeze. A very nice lap from Synchronously, and that's set down a marker, alright. We've got Cryptox, his teammate, on a lap. We'll just have a look to find out. In fact, he has. He's just put in a lap time. I was a bit slow on that one, unfortunately. What a Malk. Now, Malk, unfortunately, had a bit of a disaster last time out at France, and in fact, the Red Bull team in general, both Malk and Nitrogash, crashing out the race in unfortunate circumstances. You know, Christian Horner was not happy. Spoke to him after the race, and things just didn't work out for them. But this is a very different track. Requires a very different type of driving style, and this is more a track that could suit the Red Bulls a little bit more. We shall see. Johnny had got the fastest lap. My apologies. I knew you and Mag got retarded points. I just wasn't sure who'd got the fastest lap. So that's just my bad there. Malk's on a good lap here, and he goes... Oh, he would have gone second, but I think he may have invalidated through the last corner because he did seem to run just that little bit too wide. Now, we're on board with Tinus Optional. Now, I don't want to rub salt in the wounds here for him, but he is now third overall in the list of drivers who have had the most race starts at Invictus without a victory. Tinus has now gone 45 races without a win in Invictus, and he's clearly got some good pace, as he shows, although invalidated, but he would have gone fourth. He's clearly got some good pace. We've seen him fighting at the sharp end of races. So the pace is there, he just isn't able to put it together over a race distance. And hopefully for his sake he can break that record, because I think they always say the most difficult victory to get is that first one. You know, once you get that first win, it's a huge burden lifted off your shoulders, and you can just springboard from there. You know, some of the pressure's lifted off you, and I think once you get one, they're like buses. You wait for one and two or three come around at once. So I've got no doubt that Tinus has got the quality to do it, but the longer it takes for him to get that first win, the more that pressure will intensify. I think he's backed out of his lap. I think he made a mistake somewhere, so I think he'll be coming into the pits. Yes, he does. Let's go with Patsman. He's on a lap, I believe. In the Haas. Oh, he's just gone off the track, so that's put that lap to pay. As Nitrogash goes up to 8th place. And yeah, I hope you're all doing good tonight, those of you watching the stream. And I reckon we're going to be in for an absolute belter here tonight. Austria tends to throw up the unexpected, and I don't think this will be any different. But it is the two podium sitters from the last race that are here, that are currently on the front row of the grid, synchronously ahead of Tin Man. And that 103.9 could very well take some stopping. As Nitrogash does a second flying lap and moves up to second place. What's Johnny Elliott up to, I wonder? I think he's a driver worth watching. He showed good pace last time out. He was up, right up there. He's gone a bit wide into there though. So that will cost him just that little bit of time. And in fact he's going to the pits. I wonder again if he invalidated because he did run a little bit wide. Going into, I believe it's turn 7. So he'll be coming to the pits and looking to fit as he takes out the pit bollard on the way in. Looking to fit another set of tyres and going back out there. Sab, let's follow Sab, he's just starting a lap. Sab didn't show a race-winning pace at Paul Ricard, I think that's absolutely fair to say, as he gets a very handy tow off his teammate there. I think that's just up to coincidental, but that worked out quite brilliantly for the AlphaTauri team. He didn't show great pace, but I think he did something which Sab has become an expert in doing, and that was taking advantage of things going on around him. He never really looked like he was going to score points, but ultimately ended up just nicking the final point. He'll be hoping just to find a little bit more speed in qualifying, because with the race pace that he showed, it's all there for him if he can put it all together. As Richard moves up into 4th place. Good lap there from the Mercedes driver. Sab now going round the final couple of corners. He's yet to put a lap time on the board and he actually opts to go into the pits, so that won't be a lap there. Who should we look at now? Let's have a look at one of the new drivers, shall we? Let's have a look at I Am Neelis. Currently in 10th place, but he is going quicker through Sector 1. And it's nice to see both Renaults on the grid. We missed the yellow cars that last time out. They're always a nice car to see around the track. And clearly got two very, very quick drivers here. You know, they've got their foot firmly in the door early on in qualifying, and now, as you can see with I Am Neelis, he's finding even more time on his second lap. So he was 10th, and this lap time moves him up to 6th, just ahead of his teammate. So that's a great effort there. And I'm interested to see what he can do even more as time goes on, as Maggot moves onto the front row. Yeah, as Maggot moves onto the front row, also getting to the 1 minute freeze there, so very near to synchronously. Doesn't look like C. Wilson's improving. I was hoping to get a bit of on board with him just to see what he was up to, but doesn't look like he's on a lap, so I will switch to Tinnis, who I know is on a lap, and in fact he's just put in a lap to go 7th fastest. It's very, very close in that sort of group, down from 3rd, possibly to around 7th or 8th even. Of course, with the track layout being as it is, you expect lap times to be very close together. Who should we have a look at? Who is on a lap? We'll go back on board with Johnny Elliott then. Not many drivers now who haven't put in a lap time. I think someone's just moved up. I can't see who that is. But Johnny Elliott is definitely on a flying lap, and he wasn't quite as wide on this occasion as he was in his previous lap, so this should be a better lap for him. Is he going to complete this one? I believe he is. Through the last couple of corners. Johnny Elliott onto the main straight. This is going to be very near the top, I suspect. Yes, it is. It goes up to 3rd. Just 1,000th of a second quicker for Nitrogash, but that's enough to put him up into the top 3. And one thing we haven't touched on yet, of course, is penalties are going to be a massive, massive thing tonight. This is one of those tracks where it's very, very easy to pick up penalties, and with how close you expect the grid to be, there's no doubt about it that just avoiding penalties, maybe only picking up 1 or 2 even, could result in you finishing about 4 or 5 places higher than you would have originally. So, you know, it's not just about outright pace around here. This is one of those tracks where it's quite easy to run wide, in particular through those last couple of corners. You've got to push it, but also keep it within the limits. As I think that's Ostevens just moved up to 9th place. Time's so close at the moment. And Johnny Elliott did go for another lap. I stayed on board of him, and he's gone quickest. That's a fantastic lap. That's a 1 minute 3.5, and that has shattered the previous fastest lap. As Nitrogash has also moved up to third, but nowhere near the pace that Johnny Elliott's just put in. That's an absolutely stunning effort from him. And who else have we got currently on a lap, I wonder? We got Ginger Tiger. I think he might just have completed his lap, but it looks like he's going for another, so we'll stay with him. He's just gone up to 6. Very, very close to his teammate. I don't know. I don't think they communicate that much, to be honest, but so it's just purely a coincidence that they're so close together. Ginger Tiger doesn't look like he's improving on this lap, but he'll keep going for it. He's not far off. Is he gonna go for it, or is he going in the pits? Oh, he's opted to go in the pits. So obviously he didn't feel like he was going to improve. Let's go with a driver we mentioned earlier, being obviously the most experienced driver in the Invictus Racing League, and that's Spud. Things haven't gone his way this season so far. But we all know Spud, he's a wily racer. He will fight like never before to make sure that he can get the result that he wants. I know he's not been entirely happy with his pace on this game yet, but the more laps he does, the more races he does, I think the more pace he'll find. And this in particular doesn't look like a bad lap at all. And Sab's qualifying session's over. He's actually done a lap, so he'll be starting from the back synchronously. Has also decided enough's enough. His second place is the highest he will be. So Spud currently 15th, but he's on soft tyres now, so we should expect to see him move up quite significantly, and he does so. And that's... oh, he doesn't know, he invalidated it. Of course, my apologies. But that lap was going to be good enough to put him well inside the top 10. So the pace is in there, but he just needs to hook it up. Even though that lap time is invalidated, I think that will fill him with some confidence, knowing that the pace is there somewhere. And we've got Maggot here, who is on a better lap. This could challenge Johnny Elliott, depending on how this last sector goes. Oh, that's going to be invalidated, surely. Yeah. Oh, and a grey lap's just come in from one of the newcomers to the league tonight. Neelis has just gone onto the front row, and there's been a collision further down the field that's resulted in Mike getting a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Nitrogash. I'm not sure what's happened there. But that's a big blow for Mike. That'll put him, as it stands, to the back of the grid. But yeah, great lap from Neelis there. And good to see. Will that keep him on the front row? It remains to be seen. Who have we got on a lap, I wonder? Who is worth watching at the moment? What's Richard up to? Patsman didn't improve. So let's do Richard to see what he's doing. He didn't do a personal best in Sector 1. He hasn't done a personal best in Sector 2 either, so I don't think he's going to improve on his lap. We will go now. I'm interested to see actually how C. Wilson gets on. He's not improving in Sector 1. Johnny Elliott's decided he's had enough. I mean, that lap time looks fairly unbeatable at the moment. A 1:03.5. Of course, those on laps and starting them in the next 40 seconds will be able to complete them. C. Wilson's not improving. Malk has actually just improved. He's gone up to 9th, but not showing what we saw in pre-season from him. He was backed as an early title contender, but we have yet to see that pace. Has Wilson found anything in the last sector? No, he hasn't. Cryptox, the session's over. 13th is the best he will start. Spud is in the pit, so he won't be improving. In fact, a lot of drives towards the front are done now in the session, so it'll be all down to the cars around them as to whether they can knock them off the leading spots. Malk has finished his session. He's just improved to 6th. Better lap. That's on a 1:04.0. Nitrogash's session is done. So I believe most of the top leading runners are now done. It's as to whether anyone further down the field can knock them down a bit. Tinnis doesn't, he slightly improves, but doesn't improve in position. Patsman's not on a lap. What's Ginger Tiger up to? He's not on a lap either. Have we got anyone who's out there? Nope. Just trying to find if we got anyone on a lap. Osteven might be someone worth keeping an eye on. Oh, Brennon's just improved to 12. Knocking Osteven down a spot, and I think that's everybody finished. And your star of a show in qualifying was undoubtedly Johnny. A great pole position there, 3/10 quicker, which is around here quite a significant margin. That's got to be said. So congratulations to Johnny. A great debut qualifying performance from I Am Neelis to put it into second, and synchronously picking up where he left off from France, getting third place in qualifying. Based on this qualifying session, it's going to be one hell of a race. Got a lot of drivers at the sharp end who will believe they can win this race. I wouldn't want to place my money on anybody because this could go evil. This could go anyway. And also, I tend to have a commentator's curse when it comes to this sort of thing. So, if anyone wants to know why I'm not going to name a driver to win the race before it starts, that's the reason why. I don't want to put the curse on anybody. They might send me an angry PSN message. Just waiting now for the drivers to retire from session. Should have a minute till it's over, and we can obviously have a look at the grid in full. But yeah, some very impressive performances there. Good to see the two newbies putting in some competitive laps. The two Red Bulls looking much more on song after that disaster last time out. It's interesting again. I don't think Mike qualified very well in France either, but he just seems to find a way to be up there in the race. The safety cars played into his hands, and that's something, of course, we can't put out the question. Of course, the main strategies will be soft to mediums around here. The tyre wear isn't that severe. It'll be soft to medium, pitting around lap 11, lap 12, as I should suspect, for those that start the race on soft tyres. But of course, a safety car can well and truly throw that out the window, and we had quite a few of those last time out. So that cannot be overstated just how much that could change things. So there you go, there is the grid. Got Johnny on pole, Neely second, synchronously in third, Nitrogash fourth, got Maggot fifth, Malk is in sixth, Timman seventh, Ginger Tiger eighth, Richard in ninth, Patsman completes the top 10. Outside the top 10 we've still got some very quick drivers. Tinnis is in 11th, Brennon's 12th, Osteven is in 13th, Cryptox 14th, C. Wilson 15th, Mike is in 16th, Sir Spud 17th, Sab did not set a time but will not start from the back because Mike has a grid penalty, which means he will drop behind Spud and Sab. You would like to participate, but it's unfortunately full. I mean, if you sign up to Invictus Racing League on the forum, if you sign up there, I don't know if you're already registered, but if not, InvictusRacingLeague.com. I'm sure they'll be willing to add you to the reserve list, and when a spot becomes available, I'm sure you'll be the first one to know. So it's well worth putting yourself on the reserve list, even if you aren't able to race just yet. There'll be the natural thing with leagues that there are some spots that open up over time. So just put your name in there, and I'm sure you'll be able to participate sooner than you know. So it looks like we've got dry conditions for the race as well. Never a guarantee around Spielberg, but should make for a very interesting race. Johnny will feel very confident after that supreme pole lap, but there's a lot of drivers that will be out to stop him. As I said, soft to medium is the optimum strategy around here, but it's not the only strategy that you can do. There are other options as well. There is the option, of course, to do a two-stopper if you feel like Obviously, I think that's probably banking on a safety car more than likely. There is also the option to use the hard tyre if you prefer that, if you want to go a bit deeper into the race on your first stint. So there are variances for strategy. And we'll be underway very shortly on the formation lap. A chance to see what tyres those outside the top 10 have gone for. Off they go on the formation lap then. Yep, so nobody, wow, incredible, nobody outside the top 10 has opted to start on a soft tyre, which is a little bit surprising, because like I said, this isn't the worst deg for a track out of all of them out there. But yeah, everyone outside the top 10 is starting on the medium tyre, at the exception of Brennon's and Spud. So, Brennon's and Spud starting on the hard compound tyre. Like I said, they'll be to run a lot longer into the first stint. Like I said, this is a track you can overtake on, so it's not like track position is absolutely key. Obviously next week we're going to Zandvoort, which I'm very excited about. Obviously a brand new track to this game. But there's definitely less overtaking opportunities there than there is around here. So, although grid position is definitely ideal, it's not absolutely pivotal and key to the end result of your race. Well, we've been such a short lap, we're very nearly at the end of the outlap already, just showing just how quick this track is, and it will not be long until we are underway. Cars lined up on the grid. Johnny on pole, Neelis on his Invictus Racing League debut in second place. Then got synchronously Nitrogash, Maggot and Malk on the rows behind them. Tension will be growing. You know, I think particularly for us new drivers, it'll be a tense, nervous moment. They'll want to prove themselves in the league. They'll want to do the best job they can do. The green flag is being waved. The lights should be coming on any second now. Famous last words, of course. There we go. Okay. Engines are revving. The lights are going out. And round 2 of the Invictus F4 League is underway. It looks like a fantastic start from Johnny there. He's covered off the Renault well of Neelis, but Neelis has got a better second half of the start, and he's pushed Johnny a bit wide and synchronously looks to go past them both, but Johnny's crashed! Oh no, it's a disaster for Johnny! He's straight into the wall. He tried to put the power down. And you can see 3 abreast there into the corner, and Haas had to take avoiding action. That looks like it was Mike. We're going to try and go back with us at the lead as synchronously dives down the inside of Neelis for the lead. And synchronously makes a move stick, and that's a cracking move. Nitrogash is having a look behind him as well. But yeah, it's a disastrous start for Johnny. He looks so quick in qualifying, but it's all gone wrong at the start of the race here. And from first down to the back of the field, that's not what he would have wanted. But synchronously's made a brilliant move stick there down into turn 4. And yeah, he's always trying to build a lead up as Maggot looks quite promising at the back of Nitrogash. He has a quick look at it, but opts to back out as Neelis runs wide, and that's going to allow Nitrogash to get second place, and could have even allowed Maggot around the outside as well. So Neelis has lost 2 places there from a mistake as Maggot then looks down the inside of Nitrogash and grabs second place. What an overtake from Maggot there. Opportunistic in the extreme. Most drivers would have been happy just to take the 1 place there, but he wanted to get that place, that second place done, as Nitrogash defends against the Renault driver and manages to do it successfully. So Maggot up to second, Nitrogash 3rd place, Neelis down to 4th. Maybe a bit of race rustiness as he runs wide again, and he could come under threat from the second Red Bull of Malk, and then Tin Man just behind them. And Malk has a think about it into the penultimate corner, but ultimately there's not really a place that you can overtake. Oh, in fact, he's going to put the threat from the racing point if he's not careful. But as you can see there, synchronously he's got the lead, but not out of DRS range of Maggot, who's quickly gaining. In fact, oh my goodness me, Maggot's got a fantastic run out of turn 1, and that's going to allow him opportunity to get the lead off synchronously. And he's got the move done before we even get into turn 2, but he's ran a little bit deep. Synchronously goes for the undercut. Of course, DRS is now in operation, and synchronously has it on the McLaren, and he will come back at him down into turn 3. And that's a great overtake by synchronously. He gets the lead back. And this is a great ding-dong battle between a pair of these drivers. But synchronously regains the lead. That was some superb action there between the pair of them. And well defended from synchronously ultimately, because it looked like he was going to lose that lead. But he managed to regain it in spectacular fashion. And there's the yellow flag, and Johnny is out of the race. Has he crashed out somewhere? I don't know. But Johnny is out of the race. Disaster for the pole sitter. It just all went from... It all looked so promising after qualifying, but it's all gone wrong for him now. That's a real shame for him. He will be gutted. Maggot is still looking very ominous behind this Alfa Romeo. And in fact, a bit further down, we've got Tin Man, who's looking quite ominous behind Malk. I'd love to see it from his forward angle. He's going around the outside, is he? Oh, he's had to run a little bit wide, and he's in the wall! No, it's gone wrong for Tin Man. He went round the outside of Malk, but he run out of road, and a little bit similar to Johnny, he tried to put the power down on the grass, and unfortunately when that happens, it's very likely that your car's going to end up only in one place. A real shame for Tin Man there. I was looking like a great battle shaping up between him and Malk. But unfortunately just a little bit too eager, and in fact there's been a change for the lead as well, as I say that, because Maggot has taken the lead off synchronously. So good effort from Maggot there. He has finally made the move stick, and he was one that was touted before the season as a potential contender. A lot of people fancied. He had a lot of pace. Oh, but he keeps running wide at turn 2, and he's just handed the lead straight back to the Alfa Romeo there. So synchronously moves back into the lead, and this fighting that these two keep having is just allowing Nitrogash to get right onto the back of these pair. So they may soon have to both look in their mirrors. Because the Red Bull is looking incredibly threatening behind him, and not to mention Neelis in the Renault is also catching back up. So these two keep swapping positions and keep making the odd mistake here and there, and they're going to have to worry about cars behind them soon as well. It's great racing, I have to say. If Maggot can sort out his braking into turn 2, there's a very good chance he could pull clear. He thinks about it down to turn 1, but ultimately decides that's not worth trying. He's got such a good exit there, though. I don't think Synchronous is going to be able to do anything to defend. He allows Maggot to have the inside line, perhaps believing that Maggot won't be able to get it slowed down in time. In fact, he's hugging it out round the outside. That's fantastic from Synchronously. I didn't think he'd be able to manage that, but he made Maggot go on the shallow line. And now Nitrogash is going to try and go down the inside of Maggot. He gives him enough space. If he wants to try and hang it out, is he going to try and go down the inside here? No, he ducks in behind, and Maggot, who looked for so long like he was going to get into the lead and race away, now finds himself down into third place. Just a few mistakes here and there have ultimately cost him. Looking further down, I think one driver who's worth a shout is Brennons, who is up to 8th place on hard tyres. So that's worked out quite brilliantly for him, and in fact he's actually clambering over the back of Osteven in front of him, so his pace isn't that bad either. I'm going to stay with this top 3 for now, because there's an absolutely superb battle developing here for the race lead, and Maggot's got a much better exit out of turn 1. He seems to like that turn 1 a lot because he's getting a super exit. But Nitrogash, he's going to look himself, is he? Not quite. We'll go with Nitrogash to see if he can try and move down into turn 3 on synchronously. He hasn't looked like he's had the best exit there. And no, he's not quite close enough on this occasion. What? Maggot? Oh no! I don't think Maggot was trying to move there. I think he just outbroke himself and was trying to take avoiding action, but that's all gone wrong for him. He's lost a few positions there. He's down to 6th place. That's promoted Neelis, Malk and Ginger Tiger up. And Maggot, of course, will have to now try and get that dirt out of his tyres before getting on the charge again. But just I don't think he was trying to overtake there, personally. I think he just got it a little bit wrong under braking, and unfortunately he realised the trouble he was in, and it just went wrong for him. At least he's got no damage, and he should be able to continue on his race quite well in that regard. But that's removed one car from this lead battle as Sab pits after 6 laps on mediums. That can only be down to damage, I imagine. I don't think that's scheduled at all. And Nitrogash, they're right behind synchronously. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Is that Tinnis, I wonder? We've got an issue there with Tinnis. I'm going to try and go on board with... Yeah, Tinnis is off the track. So something's gone wrong there. He's got damage too, by the looks of it, on his... Yeah, on the right hand side of his front wing. So Tinnis has had contact somewhere. I don't know if it was with a wall. I suspect it could very well have been. But yeah, Tinnis's race not going the way he would have envisaged after the start. And he will have to try and crawl around to the pits. That's not the race he'd have wanted. I'm a little bit surprised, actually. We haven't had a safety car yet because there's been a lot going on. Speaking of a lot going on, we've got Nitrogash going down the inside into turn 2 on synchronously. Synchronously managed to hang around the outside before, but Nitrogash just shuts the door, has the racing line, and ultimately gets the move done. That was a very, very well calculated overtake there from the Red Bull driver, and it's have to say that after the disaster that was Paul Ricard, things are going very well indeed for the Red Bull team here at their home race. So far, Nitrogash into the lead, Malk doing a solid job in 4th, and this is more like what we expected from this pair, who are both drivers that we thought would be up there in and around the championship lead. And that was a fantastic overtake for the lead there, because Synchronously has been defending excellently up to that point and was never going to be an easy car to overtake, but he made it look very straightforward there with the aid of DRS. Road on lap 10. His race has gone incredibly quickly. Let's actually have a look a little bit further down. In fact, we're going to go back with Maggot because he's caught up to the back of Ginger Tiger, and we know how well Maggot gets out of his turn 1, so he might not be able to defend here at Racing Point. Maggot goes to the inside, which Ginger Tiger allows him to have. Maggot struggled to get this... Oh, he struggled to get it slowed down to braking before, I was just about to say. He's got the move done fairly. There's a question mark there. I don't think he intentionally ran Ginger Tiger out of road. I just think he's ultimately just struggling under braking there. But he's got 5th place either way, and he can now try and recover up to the back of the battle that's developing between Neelis and Malk up ahead of him. And if there's going to be a battle further down as well, we've got Cryptox over the back of Richard. 2 drivers, well, Richard in particular, we expect to be a little bit further up in this race. And in fact, Cryptos is going around the outside, I believe, because Richard is pitting. He is indeed. So Richard pits, and that brings an end to that battle, unfortunately, for now. Nitrogash not having it all his own way, though. Synchronously, he's sticking pretty close to the back of that Red Bull. And we are getting into that window where drivers will be starting to think about making their first stop of the race. The soft tyres you'd usually expect to come in the next couple of laps. Might be a little bit too early just yet, but if you are fancying an undercut, it's worth doing. And what has happened further down, I think that could be Mike in some trouble. Yeah, Mike looks like he's just recovered from a problem. He's dropped down a few positions. It doesn't look like he's got damage, but he must have had a off moment somewhere, and he's dropped down behind his teammate and Spud there. I think he was battling with Cryptox, so that's ultimately lost him a couple of places. We're going to give this battle here actually a bit of a viewing as well, because Steven... Oh, and is that Ginger Tiger pitting? Has Ginger Tiger got a problem? Has he caught damage somewhere, I wonder? Because his pace is dramatically faded. Yeah, he must have picked up a little bit of damage. Both him and Neelis are in for their first pit stops. Interesting strategies there. I'm actually going to go on board with Ginger Tiger because I'm interested to see if he picked up damage somewhere. It would explain what happened to his pace. No. Must have just lost the tyres perhaps then. But he goes onto medium tyres and he will be hoping to get those to the end. That would be the optimum strategy from here on in. Meanwhile, Brennons, who's been stuck behind Steven all race, is finally looking like he wants to make a move here on the Ferrari driver. Down inside into turn 3, surely there's not much the Ferrari can do to defend this. There isn't indeed. Nice move from Brennons then, you have to say. He's doing a fantastic job on those hard tyres. I think if he could have dreamt of a first stint in the race on these tyres, it would have gone pretty much something like the way it has. He's up into 5th place and he looks like he's got solid pace there. And Malk pits, you imagine, to try and cover off Neelis. But to be honest, I can't imagine he'll have made the overcut work on the Renault driver, but we shall see. A few earlier stops than expected, but we are getting to that window now. Owen! Is that Steven having a moment? I think it is. He did well to gather that up, because I've got to be honest, from the angle I saw it at, it looked like he was about to go straight into the wall. So, and he's managed to keep the place over C. Wilson as well, so that's worked out tremendously well for him. Malk's gone onto hard tyres. That's a little bit unexpected. I think he could probably get mediums to the end from here. Maybe he feels like the hard tyres are better race tyre, perhaps. The only drivers still out on the soft tyres are the top 3, but I imagine they'll be thinking of pitting very shortly. I'll go on board with that, well, with Nitrogash. Is he going to pit this lap? No, he doesn't. It might be worth synchronously pitting though, try and get the undercut perhaps. No, he carries on as well, so these two drivers looking to extend their first stints just that little bit more. We'll see how that pans out forward, and we've got to be a little bit careful because Neelis wasn't that far behind these two, and he has pitted a few laps ago now. So if they're not careful, they could find themselves in a bit of trouble there. Go back to the battle then. I'm interested to see if Wilson can make a move on Steven, but of course Steven will have the benefit of DRS himself, so there isn't any way through for the Renault driver at the moment. Both Renault drivers, newbies to the league, I have to say, are very much impressing me with their overall racecraft as well as their pace, and it's good to see. I say that just in case he picks up a penalty, but he won't be the first, he won't be the last. Nitrogash is really pulling away for synchronously. That explains it. Synchronously has decided to pit. Nitrogash still staying out. This is a very, very long first stint. Maggot as well is opting to stay out. Of course, he will have fresher tyres at the end, so maybe playing a long game, but there's every chance here that synchronously could get the undercut on Nitrogash, and there's also every chance that he could come out behind the Renault of Neelis. Don't know who I'm board with there, but that's not who I'm meant to be. Yeah, we are. So yeah, absolutely. And synchronously, in fact, he's come out behind Malk, so that's really not worked out for him at all. He's 2 places there just by staying out those few extra laps, and he's now going to have to try and make those positions up. That's not worked out all too well there. I'm not so surprised he came out behind the Renault, but Malk on hard tyres, you would have thought that he'd struggle in the first few laps on them. It just shows how much of those guys on does worn soft tyres are losing. Nitrogash, as expected, pits to cover off synchronously, I imagine, but I've got to be honest, he's gonna... I'd be very shocked here if he's in front of Neelis. I'm actually gonna go on board then with Nitrogash to see where he rejoins. Of course, he goes on to medium tyres, so he'll definitely be able to take those to the end now. You can see the Renault there. And Neelis is definitely going to be in front of him. In fact, it's going to be very close between Nitrogash and his teammate. Is he going to get out in front of Malk? Yes, he is just about. Spud is involved there as well with synchronously. And of course, Nitrogash will have to try and get those tyres up to temperature, and he's got pressure all over him. Synchronously's going to go down the inside of both Red Bulls. Oh, he had to back out. He didn't feel confident enough to slide it down the inside, but he has got past Malk. But there was a chance there that synchronously could have passed both Red Bulls at the same time. Oh, and Neelis has Neelis made a mistake somewhere? Don't know what's happened there. I'll go on board Neelis, but he's picked up a 5-second penalty for track limits, so I've already seen Neelis' name appear a few times at the bottom screen. He's got to be careful. There's only so many penalties you can get away with before the game disqualifies you, so and we definitely wouldn't want to see that on his debut. His pace has been very strong, but you've just got to be careful with those track limits. It's, like I say, I've got sympathy for every driver around here, because it is very, very easy to do, pick up warnings. But, in fact, let's go on board with his teammate, because I believe that Wilson's about to attack Ostiven. I've been saying this for a while now, but it still hasn't happened. And again, he just doesn't seem like he's quite close enough. And yeah, he just can't quite get the power down early enough out of turn 2. Ostiven, to be fair to him, is defending superbly. Synchronously trying to attack the Red Bull of Nitrogash. But of course, Nitrogash will have had DRS himself, so that neutralises that effect. Of course, it isn't quite so easy, I don't think. Without DRS, it's very difficult to slipstream cars on this game. I don't think the slipstream effect is as big as it was on the last game. So it does make it a little bit harder to overtake. You've got to use your ERS wisely, and sometimes maybe be a little bit brave on the brakes, or creative, just to make that move stick. Now we saw how good Mike was at defending last week. Always synchronously runs wide, that's not going to do him any favour, but as I was saying, Mike defended superbly last time out. And I should expect to see something similar here. He's got Neelis behind him, he's on much fresher mediums, but this could be Neelis' chance here. He's in the toe of the Haas, he's going to have to go to the outside. Mike will make him go the long way round, but he should have more confidence under braking. Mike, oh, Mike there, very aggressively covers the line, desperate to not let the Renault through, but fair play to Neelis. He kept his foot in it and he's made the move stick at the following corner. That was good bravery that from the Renault driver. Refused to be intimidated by Mike, and that was really good racing to see from the pair of them. In fact, Mike is now opting to pit, and that could be a problem. The car's behind him. Oh yeah, as you can... Oh no, he didn't pit. It looks like he was going to pit, but then he didn't, and that forced synchronously wide. And I mean, Mike's lost a position to Nitrogash. He's going to lose a position here as well to synchronously, but oh, and there's a bit of contact there between them. I might have chipped a bit off the front wing of the Haas, I'm not too sure. But Mike's lost one position. He's about to lose about 4 now. Yeah, I think he's just letting Mike by at that point. It hasn't worked out at all well for him there. He might have been better off just not letting all those cars go, but I don't know what was happening there. It was like he was going to pit, and ultimately he decided not to. As we've got Nitrogash now around the outside of Neelis. That was quite easy, I have to say, quite straightforward. Nitrogash must have used his overtake there to make that move stick, because it didn't look like he was all too close. But yeah, the overspeed was incredible there, and Nitrogash is back up to what is provisionally the lead of the race, where he was before, and synchronously is starting to follow him through too. Have we got a problem for Mike, I wonder? Yeah, Mike's into the wall. Mike has spun, he's got damage. And after a really good race at France last time out, it's all gone wrong for Mike, and that, I'm afraid, will be pretty much the end of his race. The problem is as well, he struggled to get soft tyres to the end from there. He might as well take the gamble, I suppose, but yeah, that's going to really cost him. Yeah, I think the safety car there is the only thing that can save Mike's race. That's a real shame for him. Gone back on board with synchronously, because Nealis is starting to gain a little bit of a train behind him. He made that early stop, of course, for mediums, and he may be starting to regret it, as we've got Nitrogash. Oh, and a bit of contact there between Nitrogash and the other Renault of C. Wilson, but Nitrogash has got the move done, and he's making fantastic progress through the field here. Nitrogash, he was the first one out, poor Ricard last week, but he's more than making up for this now. Some fantastic overtaking. I was a bit concerned for him, but you know, he did stop later when those around him. He's ultimately made it work on those fresher tyres, and he looks pretty formidable at this point, as Osteven, Cryptox and C. Wilson, who of course all started on mediums, are all in the pits now. So I wonder if they'll be taking on softs now to the end of the race. We suspect so. And we've got Synchronously, who's about to attack Nealis for what is third place. Provisionally will be second on the road once Brennan's pits. Oh, and Synchronously rudely shoves his way past the Renault, and Malk is going to be able to take advantage of that as well. Nealis' exit compromised there by running off the road, and Malk now is going to try and take Synchronously at the same time. There's contact between them. They're going to go free abreast here, are they? Oh, and Synchronously's lost out to both cars. Malk out of nowhere there slid it up the inside. Synchronously didn't react quickly enough. I don't think he expected the move, and ultimately that's lost him a place to Nealis as well, and that's actually got damage. That's damage for Synchronously too, so I think that's some of his front wing chipped off there. Could be wrong, but if so, that's going to make the Alfa Romeo handle horribly for the remaining 14 laps. But yeah, very good from Malk there. He went for the hard tyre, which I wasn't too sure about at the time. He didn't, but he's making it work for him at the moment. But he's going to be under threat here. Nealis is coming back at the Red Bull driver. Nealis goes down the inside, and he's made that stick well, but he's run wide. He didn't get the braking right, and he's actually lost out in the end to Synchronously, who now might have a go back at Malk. He wouldn't have appreciated that move, and he might want to give him a taste of his own medicine, but he wasn't quite close enough on this occasion. Some great racing there between the three of them. Fantastic to see, and it's been an absolute barnstormer so far. But it's Malk that finds himself in third place, and it's going at the moment quite brilliantly for the Red Bulls. They're looking at the moment that's a 1-2 finish. The only two drivers I believe now who have yet to stop are Brennan's in the lead and Spud, who is in 7th. They started on the hard tyres. I can't imagine it'll be too long until they're in for softs. They're at that stage now where they could take on softs quite comfortably to the end. And Synchronously, I don't think he's done with Malk here, not by any stretch of the imagination. And he thought about going down the inside. We've got a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. I'm not sure what that's all. Is that Mike again, I wonder? Try and go on board with him quickly. I think Mike's had a problem somewhere. Tinnis is back in the pits as well, so that's not gone well for him at all. As Synchronously was close to Malk under braking, but not close enough on this occasion. The Renault of Nealis just starting to back off this pair. Not quite got the race pace against these two. But nevertheless, he's having a very solid debut indeed. Nitrogash is about to close in on Brennan's, but Brennan's actually pits anyway. And it'll be interesting to see where Brennan's comes out. He's had, in my opinion, he's actually had a very good hard tyre stint. And switching to softs now, he could very much be a threat. I imagine he's probably going to come out around where Osteven and Cryptox are, and they're also on softs. But Synchronously He's definitely close enough on this occasion. He's going to go down the inside into turn 2. He brakes later than Malk, and he gets it slowed down in time as well. That's a nice overtake. But now he'll have to defend because Malk will have the DRS. The beauty of this track, 1 minute you're overtaking, the next minute you're defending, and Malk didn't go down the inside this time. Synchronously has got that second place back for the time being. And Brennon's rejoined in P10. That's not too bad at all. And with those fresh stock tyres, he'll be able to push like mad in these latter stages. So he could definitely be a driver to watch out for. No question about it. Oh, we're gutted you couldn't race as well, Mileham. Obviously, Mileham was a winner last week at Paul Ricard. And he would have been, I think he would have been in this league fight as well. And it would have made it even more exciting than it's already been. It's been an absolute belter. Spud is the last person to pit and finally does so. It hasn't been the ideal race for Spud. He will probably drop down, I reckon, to about 14th place when he rejoins out the pits. But he will be on quick soft tyres at the end, so who knows, he might be able to make up some positions towards the end of a race. I'm going to actually go on board with Brennons, who's already starting to charge through the pack. He's already up to 8th, and now he's going to challenge for P7 against the Alfa Romeo of Cryptox. But he thinks better of it, but you can already see the grip and pace the soft tyres are giving him is incredible, and he had good hard tyre pace. Sab is out of the race. That's really unfortunate for Sab. He's usually so good at hanging in there and staying around the points, but it just hasn't been his race tonight. And he becomes our second retirement after Johnny, the pole sitter, had a bit of a nightmare from pole, unfortunately. Just got the yellow flag, actually. We haven't got a safety car, so... And we've got a yellow flag in sector 1. What's that about? We've got Mike out of the race now as well, so we've got a third retirement quickly after the second one. Another point scorer from the opening race has exited this race. Ginger Tiger's in the pits, so he won't be going to the end on those tyres, and that ultimately is probably going to cost him quite a bit. Brennon's... Oh, and in fact we're going to go quickly board with Maggot, who is looking down the outside of Neelis into turn 3 and gets the move done very nicely indeed. Maggot back up to 4th place. I know he had that off moment earlier on, but other than that he's looked very solid indeed. And Neelis just starting to fall back that little bit. He's got a nice good buffer behind him, so he should be able to hold on to 5th as long as those tyres don't go off too much towards the end. There is a... oh no, he's actually pitting. So obviously he doesn't feel like he can get to the end on those tyres, so that hasn't worked out at all well for him on the strategy. It's plainly obvious to see that the one stopper is the fastest way around here, and those that haven't been able to make it work, like Ginger Tiger and Neelis, are ultimately slipping back through the field. We're going to go back with Brennons, who is desperately trying to get past Cryptox. And he's going to go down the inside, Brennons. I don't think Cryptox has much of a defence for that. He doesn't indeed. Brennons up into 6th place. He will try and get the move done back in the second DRS zone now. And he's going to go around the outside, is he? Brennons will try and hold it round against him. They stay side by side. That's fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing between the pair of them. Cryptox has to slot in behind. He just didn't quite have the traction that Brennons had. I'm sure that few less laps that Brennons has done on the soft compound will ultimately have paid dividends there, and he just looks very quick at this stage of the race, and I can't imagine it's going to be too long before he's on the back of the Ferrari as well. Going to go back then to the battle for 2nd place. Malka's not given up on this fight in this bid to make it a Red Bull 1-2 at their home track, and synchronously will still have some defending to do, and there's every possibility that Maggot could potentially get involved in this battle as well. He's not too far behind. Of course, what synchronously ultimately will be very aware of is that I reckon certainly in the last 3-4 laps those hard tyres will probably be a better bet. Vadna mediums. So Malk just staying where he is at the moment could ultimately pay dividends later on. It looks for all the world that Nitrogash has this in the bag up front as long as nothing out the blue goes wrong. But then of course it all comes down to penalties as well. So that could ultimately change the finishing order too. Oh, and that wasn't a good exit out at all out of turn 1 for the Alfa Romeo. Surely he's going to be an absolute sitting duck here. He is indeed. Malk's going to get the inside line. And provided he can get it slowed into the braking zone, which he can, he takes second place synchronously. Kind of handed that to him on a plate there, but of course then the advantage here. He then gets the DRS down the second straight. Oh, and he thought about it, but yeah, Malk must have used his overtake there as well. And ultimately kept hold of that second place. That's a great overtake from Malk there. And if maybe you were wondering why Malk was picked for a title after the disaster he had at Paul Ricard, this race is definitely showing more of what he's capable of. As Ostivan picks up a penalty as he tries to fend off the very quick Mercedes behind him. Credit to Spud as well, he's actually right on the back of the points now. He's got Patsman just in front of him, so that's not worked out too badly for Spud overall. And those that made 2 stops, the likes of Nealis, Ginger Tiger, it's just ultimately not worked out for them. Nealis will probably in hindsight ruin that early stop he made. Maybe a bit too rash in attempting the undercut. And need to think a bit more about the long game, but of course that will come with more league racing experiences. Brennons does go down the inside of us, Stephen. Oh, and there's been a slight contact between the pair of them. And Brennons is into the wall. And that will be damage to the Mercedes. And what was looking like a stellar drive has ultimately been undone by what was very minimal contact, it has to be said. But sometimes all it takes is the most minimal touches between the two drivers to send one of them round. And I hope for Brennon's sake that doesn't ruin his chances of a good result. Spud has made the move stick on Patsman and is now inside the points. And there has been a swap back here as well. Synchronously has found his way back past Malk, and they'll need to look behind them because Maggot undoubtedly right now is quicker than the pair of them as they continue their race-long feud for second place. Malk will have the DRS here. He's trying to find a way around the Alfa Romeo. He's ultimately thought better of it, maybe saving it for the second straight. Synchronously, I think he's struggling on the exit of these slow corners to get the power down, but having said that, in the second phase of the traction zone, he seemed to pull away a bit. Maybe curse of a commentator there, I'm not too sure, but that ultimately meant that Synchronously could hold on to second place for the time being. Someone hoping that Maggot can take third here, and there's every possibility about that, no question about it. He's looking very menacing behind these two, and of course he does have a lap younger tyres on him than Synchronously does. Synchronously is the only driver in this fight, and even in the top 5 actually, that stood on the podium before, and that's... Oh, and there's a virtual safety car, because I Am Nealis is out of the race. Trying to find out where that was. Where did I Am Nealis crash out? Can't see where that is. Ah, I'm not too sure where that was at all, but that's a real shame for him. He looked very strong on his Invictus debut, and that's a shame for it to end like that. The other newbie, C. Wilson, is still in the points though, so could be some points on the cards for Renault. Should a virtual safety car learn soon, we'll be back to racing conditions. It's been a very, very different race to the race we had a week ago. No safety cars have impacted this race at all. It's been much more down to the pace and staying out of trouble, and ultimately the strategy as well. Oh, and Richard's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under a virtual safety car. That's going to cost him points. That's an absolute disaster for Richard. He was running in 9th place at the moment, but as it's so easy to do, he's gone a little bit too much under the delta, under the VSC, and that's going to cost him. I think that's going to cost him points, unless he's going to get back under with penalties. We shall see. Maggot's lost. I think Maggot's lost about half a second now under the virtual safety car as well. He's not right on the back of these two as he was before. Brennan's damage must not be too severe, because although he has lost some pace, he's still in the round there, but he may lose that 7th spot. This battle's still raging for the 2nd spot. These two have put up a great fight for us. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch. And if this race is anything to go by, we're going to be in some belters across the whole season. Of course, next week, as I mentioned earlier, we are at Zandvoort. I'm very excited to see the cars around that track. But there's still 3 laps left of this one yet, and anything can happen. Maggot's picked up a penalty which could be absolutely critical to his podium chances. Synchronicity again, struggling out of turn 1. I think that's been his Achilles heel all race. And Malk here is going to try and look down the inside, but he's not close enough on this occasion. Malk's a vastly experienced racer. He won't lose patience here. He will keep trying. He'll keep looking for a safe way through. He won't just dive it up the inside out of frustration. And well, it's worth pointing out that on Nitrogash's 175th Invictus race appearance, he could be about to take another win. That's absolutely incredible. Of course, this is only the 2nd race in Invictus F4. This is the first time Invictus are running an F4 League. So, of course, this will be his first F4 victory. And not too bad in only the 2nd one. I'm on the penultimate lap now. Malk ever closer to Synchronicity. He's got to nail the exit out of turn 1, and he hasn't. Synchronicity again struggling to get the power down out of turn 1, and surely this time Malk's going to have a run on him into turn 2. Synchronously, does he fight it off? I don't think he does. He'll once again try and get the better exit, but I think Malk has just got, is too far ahead. I don't think Synchronously is going to be able to come back at him here. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. Richard's been disqualified. That must be due to penalties. Oh no, he might not have served a drive-through. So Richard must not have served a drive-through, and that's brought an end to his race. That's a real shame for him. But yeah, that's absolutely gutting for him. He scored points last time out, but he won't be scoring tonight. That's the end of his race, unfortunately. On the penultimate lap, we're about to start the final lap of this race, and Malk looks like he's trying to make a break for it now. Red Bull staring at a potential 1-2, and now Synchronously is coming under pressure from Maggot. You can't help feeling that his tyres are just starting to give way. Maggot goes down the inside into turn 1. That's the brave place to do it, and it's ultimately not worked out for Maggot. A little bit of impatience there. He would have been in a much better position to do it into turn 2, but he went for it there, and that's unfortunately killed any chance he had of getting 3rd place on the road. That's a real shame for him. We're going to go on board now with the race leader, Nitrogash. We've not seen much of him in the latter stages, but that's not an insult to him. That just shows how controlled a drive this has been from him. A disaster he had at Paul Ricard, there's no other way of putting it. But him and the Red Bull team have fought back in the most demolishing way possible, it has to be said. And he's just got a few more corners to navigate here. Absolutely massive credit to him. He's driven an absolutely stellar race. And Nitrogash goes around the final corner to take the win here in the Invictus F4 League at the Austrian Grand Prix. Malk takes 2nd, but he loses it to Synchronously. So Synchronously does get 2nd on the road. Malk drops to 3rd. Maggot will be in 4th. And we'll see the other drivers come across the line. I'll stay on board with Nitrogash, but we're going to have Osteven takes 5th. Brennons is in 6th. Cryptox drops to 7th. We've got Wilson in 8th. Spud takes his first points of the season in 9th, and Patsman takes the final point with the 2 racing points, unluckily for them, just finishing outside the points on this occasion. Wow, what an absolute breathtaking race that was. The action throughout, from first lap to last. And I've got to say, absolute credit to Nitrogas. He drove an absolutely flawless race. In terms of a driver of the day, I gave it to the winner last time out, and I don't want to keep giving it to the winner because it is thing. I'm going to say Nitrogas did a fantastic job, but just for the purpose of not going for the race winner on this occasion, I am going to give it to Brennan's. I know he had that slight bit of contact later on with Steven, but I think Brennan's really made that hard to soft tyre strategy work for him, and that's ultimately helped him get a very good 6th place today after starting near the back. So I'm going to give my driver of the day to Brennan's. That's a great effort from him. Massive credit to the top 2 as well, to not getting penalties. That's a very, very strong effort. Fastest lap in the end went to Spud, I believe, actually. Just going to check that. I mean, it's gone to Mike. I don't know if Spud will get a point for that, but Spud did the fastest lap out of those in the top 10, so fair play to him for that. Yeah, I'm going to give my driver a day to Brennan's. There's a few contenders in there, and Nitrogas deserves a lot of credit, as do Synchronously and Malk for such a great battle they've put on for us. But that is your race results. What I will do now is I will invite the podium finishers in for a quick chat after the race. Hopefully we can get to talk to them. We only got to talk to Tin Man last week, so hopefully we can get a few more of them in tonight. And yeah, I'll be quickly blue screen you while I try and get them into the party. So just invited them now, so hopefully we'll have the podium finishers to chat to. It's been a very exciting race, so I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss. And I look forward to hearing how their races went. Hello guys, just make sure you've got your audio settings to allow, just so we hear you on the stream. Right, so we'll get the podium interviews underway. If Synchronously joins in due course, we can of course ask him questions. But we'll go to Nitrogas firstly. Congratulations on the win, and that's got to be the perfect way to recover after what happened last week.
Yeah, definitely. I practiced loads last week as well, and never lost it once in practice, and then in the race, first lap, and yeah, so yeah, I'm well happy with that.
There was a crucial time around the only stop of the race where you stayed out a lot later than those around you. That looked initially like a mistake, I have to say, but ultimately those fresher tyres worked for you towards the end.
Yeah, I was always going softs, mediums. I didn't know what the other guys were doing when they went to the pit, so that's why I just stuck with what I was on. But yeah, Niels jumped me, but I managed to get past him. He was battling somebody else, and I managed to just take advantage of that, and then I got a couple of cars in between us, and yeah, it was alright. I was just keeping an eye on Synchronicity there, because I had 2 warnings and I didn't want to get a penalty because I knew he didn't have one. So
that was another thing I was going to mention as well. Obviously you and Synchronously didn't pick up any penalties, and around a track like Austria, that's got to be a massive congratulations from me, because this is a track where it's very easy to pick up penalties. You must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, the first one was pretty much, my first warning was definitely a corner extend, but the second one was it was on the first corner on about the second to last lap, so that's the last lap and a half I was just being really careful, so yeah.
And not to make you feel too experienced here, but that was your 175th Invictus race, and
oh, nice.
Must be happy to add another win to the collection.
Yeah, it's a nice way to mark it, isn't it, with a win?
Get in, Nitro! Get in, you beauty! That's what you should be doing.
That's Malk.
Oh, get in. Oh.
And as their teammates very happy, you must be targeting the Constructors' Championship as a team. That's definitely the race you guys needed.
Yeah, I mean, after last week, both of us, I mean, I think Malk dropped on the same corner as me last week, so we've gone from...
Lightning strike twice. On that
yeah, we've gone from dropping on the same corner to being on the podium, so that's, yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well done, Nitro. Absolutely well done.
Cheers,
Great
mate.
performance. Doesn't look like Synchronously's joining us, but we have got Malk, so we'll move on to you now. P3 today. I've got to say, first of all, you and Synchronously gave us a lot of entertainment in the race, so thank you for that. How was the race from your view?
My heart was pounding left, right and centre after that battle with Sync as well, and I think I had a bit of a battle with one of the Racing Point drivers as well early on in the race, but I had to go for soft hards because the tyres weren't great and I had to do something to catch up to the guys, and I knew Nitro was ahead of me in the pits. Was that correct? I can't remember. I think it was right.
I believe so. I think you came out just near each other, actually.
Yeah, so if Nitro was on mediums, he would have gone past me anyway, regardless. But I had a good battle with Sync, and I hope he's on the chat or anything like that, because fair play to him. I did give him enough room, and I'm sure in the stream everyone was delighted. But get in, you Red Bulls, get in! That's what I wanted. But don't get me wrong, everyone in the league has been fantastic, and watch out for like the likes of Maggot, Milan, and all the others as well. They're the ones to watch, and Sync as well. We had a brilliant battle, and I really enjoyed that tonight, to be fair.
Even Niles as well, on his debut, he showed very promising. Unfortunately, he had to do a two-stop, which I think put him out of contention in the end. But yeah, there was a lot of racing between a lot of you, really. It was great to see. Obviously, I've touched on what happened last week. I touted you for the title before the season begun. No pressure.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Going forward, that's got to be a confidence boost.
Absolutely. I mean, as Nitro said, it's a bit of a bomber right from the France race last week, and we had to do something, both of us, pretty much, and definitely a confidence boost. And it's one of those tracks we both enjoy. And in the top three, I was worried because I had a penalty during that race, and I was worried, like, I thought Sync had a penalty. That's why I was trying to push on quick, but didn't work out well. But I'm happy for us as a team, and you know, we all work together and just take it one race at a time. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, and a superb day for Red Bull as well at their home circuit.
Yeah, give them some wings. Get in, beauty. That's it.
And just a quick question to you both then. Obviously next week we're at Zandvoort for the very first time.
Oh,
Start off with Nitrogash. How are you looking forward to that track? How do you think you'll do?
I don't know how I'm going to do. I'm getting used to it. I've raced it in other things, so like I've got ACC Sata Corsa, so I've been racing around it for a bit, but it's a bit different in the Formula 1 car. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. I'm looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to Vietnam, put it that way.
Can I join in the party, Nigel, with that one, to be fair? I do agree with that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Are
you looking forward to Zandvoort as well, Milk?
I am absolutely looking forward to it, and it's one of those tracks where it's narrow, not much overtaking unless you're at the start finishing line straight. It reminds me of like Hungary at the start finishing line to do the overtake stuff, but I think you need to get a good qualifying position, and the pace as well from everyone. It's going to be close. I think you're going to see probably 108s, 109s possibly in the qualifying, I think, from the TT times I saw before.
Okay, we'll certainly look out for that next week. Of course, providing it's dry, we can never guarantee that.
Don't even go there.
But yeah, well done again, Malk, on the podium, and good to see both Red Bulls up there.
Yeah, old boys rule okay.
Oh, yes, get in. Right.
Cheers, Jack.
No worries at all. Okay. So, yeah, thank you everyone for tuning into the stream. Hope you enjoyed that thrilling race. And yeah, we will see you next week, as touched on, for Zandvoort for round 3. It'll be same time again, 8 o'clock. Join me, Jake, for that one. And until then, it's good night from me.